Jerusalem, you the one, say lie like Judah, son. Pray I bring the truth to some. Speed fast in a coupe or some. Bring the last to the pinnacle roof. Yeah, the letter I spits, the letter I write. Use the force like a Jedi Knight. Air Force like red eye white. Scared of force, I bet I might. Speed off, see swerve down the street lost. Heart beats off. Never know if this life could be lost. Might tee off. Make it run like Chuck Carrey, dog. Run, nigga, run. Young niggas at the bottom like we gain the ones. Young niggas at the bottom like we gain the ones. Like we gain the ones. Young niggas at the bottom like we gain the ones. Like we gain the ones. Young niggas at the bottom, gotta leave fast like Sodom. Gotta creep fast, hit the streets at the day be bad till they taught them. Now we be fast, so like be fast, to pray we fast, for we call them. Yup, seats hang like fruit. My eye keys we gang like Bruce. My eye keys we hang like loose. From a city I claim rights to. From a city I claim rights to. Will I make it through the gate? Pray I do. Famous last words, forgive me too. All of my fam, I pray they do. Gotta repent or we can't get through. Gotta repent or we can't get through. No, I'm from a city in the Middle East, best city in the whole wide world. Say, I'm from a city in the Middle East, best city in the whole wide world. Say, I'm from a city in the Middle East, best city in the whole wide world. Say, city in the whole wide world. Say, city in the whole wide world. Say, I'm from a city in the Middle East, best city in the whole wide world. I'm from a city in the Middle East, best city in the whole wide world. I'm from a city in the Middle East, best city in the whole wide world. Say, city in the whole wide world. Say, city in the whole wide world. Shofar blow, we so far gone. Babylon came to town and they stole our home. Put us up on the trees and they broke our homes. Gave lemons, made juice like Omar Bro. Bishops robbing cops and robbers. It's such a problem, who can solve it? We walk the block with Zeets and Bibles. Teach the streets to seek survival. Bring peace to junkies, creeps and shotters. Peace to riders. No right foot creep when the beef is ours. We don't have the same heat when police are violent. So we ain't real G's to the streets as ours. Beast devour, can't lock step with coward. Come and preach every week, but the hungry scholar. Bringing more than just words. We pour in suburbs. The score is never settled till you're in the furs.
All my saints, they call Yahweh. Stay on your team till it all is ours. See the fig tree, Esau devours. Take the kingdom
forever and ever and ever and ever.
All my saints, they call Yahweh. Stay on your team till it all is ours. See the fig tree, Esau devours. Take the kingdom forever and ever and ever.
Culture dealer, dope for real. A hope for the lowest hill, the broken spirit. I was told to open prison, store the sick and broken bones. Repair every broken home. Know your role, our house is a broken home. Fell away from our God, so we broke our bones. Do the rhyme 6-8 till I please my God. See, I bind them fast in between my eyes. In the spirit till we rise and the king preside. Man is flawed, lean on God. Damn, it's hard to see her side. Cameras off and damn, I off the need to cry. Deeds aside, we should be well known where your light show. And you know we used to be up in the night. Now we let the spirit in the light show. Tired of being dark, so we see you in the light. Let's go.
All my saints, they call Yahweh. Stay on your team till it all is ours. See the fig tree, Esau devours. Take the kingdom
forever and ever and ever and ever.
All my saints, they call Yahweh. Stay on your team till it all is ours. See the fig tree, Esau devours. Take the kingdom forever and ever and ever.
Came to the conclusion. Alright, man, what you think? Talk to me. There's nothing we can fix in this world. Yo, it's clear if you read this Bible, man. Man, when Christ coming back? You know? Hey, I'ma wait. I'ma sit right here. No, for real. Yeah, I'ma wait. I'm sitting here. Struggle real cause I'm new and it's true. Had to change my ways and the things that I do. The world start tripping when you start wearing fringes. Your friends go missing and your fam won't listen. They say that I changed cause I'm doing things different. Instead of following the pastor, prefer to follow scriptures. Tired of being attentive to opinions. If you insert into the word, you are sinning. Telling me how this world works with no chapter or verse. I done did bad, I ain't trying to do worse. But sir, you can do whatever you like. I prefer to follow these books and wait on Christ. And it's It's a battle each day. Gotta read his word and do what it say. Make sure I don't sin. Matthew 24:13 and do it to the end. I pray that my family's straight. Be in one accord with his word one day. Until you come back to this place, I'm gonna spread your word and do it and wait. 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 Yeah. And I ain't doing things my way. I'ma wait like a line on Black Friday, or like a cashier when it's closing time, or like the last day in the voting line. Technology's so advanced, but we so behind. Closed off to people with an open mind. I can read red letter and they say I'm lying. I know it's bad, but at times I get tired of trying. I be trying to force them to see. In reality, just the past year they was me. But the best way to help them understand it, seeing my actions, following these commandments. It's a battle each day. Gotta read his word and do what it say. Make sure I don't sin. Matthew 24:13 and do it to the end. I pray that my family's straight. Be in one accord with his word one day. Until you come back to this place, I'm gonna spread your word and do it and wait. 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 Do it and wait.
We the top, they the father for the prophets. Know the nation steady waiting for the day that we would drop. All these nations gotta pay for what they did to Yasha all. Maybe we could wait the people take this thing out to the block. We the new gold. I bet they knew that when they took you to your new home, that we the princes of the power, cause we wrestle with these spirits and we come out on top. This with that black and brown masquerade. God, we amazing and I'm not a mason, but the bricks is laid up in arrangement. Yep, young black in my backpack, dangerous, mixing in some flavor with these scriptures, now we baking. Took too long for reparations and restoration. All black everything from start to revelation. Snatching masters from the masses, this is battle rap. Taking all them patents back and bringing blackness back. Imagine Tulsa 23, who land we building on? Why you plotting, keep the milk at home? Why you bopping, keep your slippers on? That's how we do on my side. Keep it in the family and you know we keep it in the tribe. Yahweh on my side, we a bunch of young kings tryna let the spirit guide. Keep it in the tribe. Yahweh on my side, we a bunch of young kings tryna let the spirit guide. Keep it in the tribe. Yahweh on my side, we a bunch of young kings tryna let the spirit guide. Keep it in the tribe. Yahweh on my side, we a bunch of young kings tryna let the spirit guide. How you waiting on that same man that changed you to raise you? That's like waiting on that coach that never played you to play you. The only thing they'll do is play you. They used to call a fire truck to spray you. Now they playing music on your radio. Your ops pull up to spray you. Playing that same music, them artists ain't getting paid to do. Now you bought a chain, you shining, hop out the rain. Some brothers pull up in vain, they dropping, snatching your chain, dude. Did we ever break free from the slavery? Too many lives lost, too many laid them seas. They put insurance on my brothers, see the dotted lines. You lose your soul when you sign, gotta keep it in the tribe. Yahweh on my side, we a bunch of young kings tryna let the spirit guide. Keep it in the tribe. Yahweh on my side, we a bunch of young kings tryna let the spirit guide. Keep it in the tribe. Yahweh on my side, we a bunch of young kings tryna let the spirit guide. Keep it in the tribe. Yahweh on my side, we a bunch of young kings tryna let the spirit guide. Let the spirit guide. We the top, they the father for the prophets. Know the nation steady waiting for the day that we would drop. All these nations gotta pay for what they did to Yasha all. Maybe we could wait the people take this thing out to the block. Get some signs, get a spot. We aligning with my pops. We the only people crying that the violence need to stop. Taking brothers out the hood, now we shining on your block. Man, the only thing can stop us is my God. Keep it in the tribe. Yahweh on the side, we a bunch of young kings trying to let the spirit guide. Keep it in the tribe. Yahweh on the side, we a bunch of young kings trying to let the spirit guide. Let the spirit guide. My water straight from the throne. We built the altar with the unhewn stones. Roam through the city, all we seeing is these bones. So my face like flint till I wake a couple souls. A prophet hated by his own, so the father sent his son to bring the tribes of Jacob home. Jumping through these traps, cause they trying to see us gone. But we walking through the fire just like Daniel and his bros. From every sheep to her zone, we stay inside the book because the book is all we own. Heritage and you better hold it on. We like David fighting giants with no armor on a stone. We face east as a car home. We face east just to call home. We can't sleep till we all home. We won't rest till they all gone. So I guess that we be calling out they all bones. Bless the seed, invest the deep in the laws of our God. Make it Elohim, Shema, Warapah, all the Zadikim. Barakatah, Yahweh, and Mashah, Nagim. Bless the seed, invest the deep in the laws of our God. Make it Elohim, Shema, Warapah, all the Zadikim. Barakatah, Yahweh, and Mashah, Nagim. From Bereshit to the books in Greek, the dragon took the sheep. Man, the book complete. The father looked for peace, but we shook the beast. Now we up until our power put the hook in cheek. Shema, Yasha Allah, Abanawa, Yahweh, Ahad. He the tower till he give us the power of God. Though in the tower you will never devour a tribe. The Lord despised all you devils, your hours arrive. Bless the seed that kept the peace. Never forgot the poor and he kept the feast. We trying to dodge destruction, they can't stop the sea. Barakatah, Yahweh, and Mashah, Nagim. Bless the seed that kept the peace. Never forgot the poor and he kept the feast. Trying to dodge destruction, they can't stop the sea. Barakatah, Yahweh, and Mashah, Nagim.
Shalom. First and foremost, giving our honor and glory to Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. All right, we're the Anointed House of Saints. You already know what it is, man. Like the video into the building, Baba Kashai. Y'all ain't seen me on the Monday in a minute. I'm only up here for about 5 minutes, right? Hey, you're on mute, King. Right?
I said it's been a minute.
Man, it's been a minute, man. Shalom. Hey, listen, man, you already know what it is. Like the video into the building, Baba Kashai. If you have not already subscribed to the channel, you're going off. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. All right, a couple of announcements real quick since I am up here. All right, go ahead and start RSVPing for dedication. That's December 7th at evening. We're going to have it in Atlanta, Georgia. Go ahead and RSVP for the Feast of Dedication. All right. As well, these calendars are about to come out, man. We already finished the calendar for 2024. All right. So those will be available for purchase, I believe, in the beginning of December. That calendar is going to be very useful. You know how you go to Walmart, you get your calendar for the year, and you know, whatever. It's going to be just like one of those, but it's going to be better. All right. It's going to have the information about the different Hebrew months. It's going to let you know when the feast days are. All of that good stuff like that. All right, so y'all go ahead and start sending your emails about those calendars. We'll email you back with how much it is. Once we get a price together, we will let y'all know how much it is for one of those. We got the good brother, one of the newest officers in the camp. All right, Officer Boaz in the building. Shalom King. All right. You on mute again. See, y'all brothers don't know how to hit an unmute button, man.
Shalom, Adawan. How about Shimmy out Shabrakatah?
Y'all about Shimmy out Shabrakatah. All right, Con. So the brother, he gonna replace me tonight. But yeah, man. So dedication. Put dedication 2023 in the put dedication 2023 in the subject line of your email to RSVP. All right. We're gonna be at camp that Saturday too. So make your arrangements so you can be at camp with us. You know what I'm saying? We want to see the women, children, the brothers who congregate. Even if you ain't in the camp, if you congregate with us, you come to our feast days. You know what I'm saying? We call you a brother. We want you in the building for camp as well. All right. And like I said, go ahead and get those calendars, man, when they come out. We did it for y'all early. All right. We went ahead and knocked it out. We made the whole calendar. All right. So you're going to have a physical calendar in your hand that you can hang up on your wall. You, your children, your family can go ahead and be up to date on when these holy days are and the whole 9 yards. We're going to have trivia questions, biblical questions on them things and everything. It's going to be nice, man. So make sure y'all caught one of those. All right. So I'm going to do these shout outs real fast. Then I'm gonna hand it over. I ain't gonna be too long. We got John Allen and Kadar Haran in the building. Shalom King. All right. The brother Yawasop in the building. Prospect Jeremiah in the building. Shalom. Hey man, the brother Win Walker. That second song I played, Enduring Wait, that was that brother, man. All right. Hey, that brother nice with it too. He nice with it. Shalom to you and your family, King. All right. Got the brother Anthony in the building and DT8 Twan in the building. Shalom. All right. Got the Captain Yahawada and the brother Soldier Kadash in the building. Shalom King. All right, got AHOS Nadiyab and the Prospect Araya in the building. Shalom. All right, we got the Officer Boaz on the screen. Shalom. Captain Yakum Yah in the building. Shalom. All right, World Without End. Always a pleasure to see you. Shalom. All right, we got the brother, the newest officer, Officer Shemaiah out of Dallas, AHOS Dallas in the building. Shalom. You're gonna be seeing him and the brother Officer Kadar Haran pretty soon, sooner than soon. All right, so if you're in that area, man, go ahead and tag with us, send us an email. We can tell you how to get in touch with the officers in that area. All right. Who else we got? Anointed House of Saints Atlanta in the building. Shalom. Got the sister Princess Abaya in the building. All right, the good brother Captain Haran in the building, and whoever else comes in, shalom to you. All right, and without further ado, I'm gonna pass it over to the captain, man. Shalom.
All right, man. Shalom. Sorry we're a little bit late, y'all, but things happen. Had some problems with the internet, so we gonna try to work through it. All right. But shalom, y'all. As always, we want to give our honor and praise and glory to the Most High Yahweh by Shema Mashiach Yahweh Shai. That is in the name of His Son Yahweh Shai, who y'all ignorantly call Jesus Christ. All right. So today, obviously, is Columbus Day, right, in America, and it's also Indigenous Peoples Day, right? So we're gonna kind of go into the history of Columbus and prove that the Northern Kingdom is Israelites, right? There's so this is gonna be basically a remake of a lesson I did before, but it's always good to do it again. Judy, you gonna have to tell me right quick before you dip out. There's a clip that I want to play. Am I gonna be able to play it? It's from a movie. A real movie, but it's a YouTube movie right now. You're on mute.
I'm talking about y'all on mute. How long is the clip?
I can play like a minute or 30 seconds. I just want to play the part where he talks about Esdras.
All right. I know what you're talking about. Give me the name of the movie.
It's called 1492 Conquest of Paradise.
1492 Conquest of Paradise.
Yep.
All right, give me 1 second. I'm gonna make a disclaimer thing for it, but you should be straight. And if not, who cares?
I'm gonna play a minute.
All right, I got you. I'm gonna make one real quick, and I'll have it up there. Y'all could go ahead and do y'all thing.
All right, it's a bit.
All
so
right.
basically, we're gonna go ahead and play this clip. There's a movie that y'all could go watch to get a little bit of history on Columbus. and the truth to why he, actually sailed over here. It wasn't just to find another route to China like they try to teach you in school, right? A lot of the reason why was because he was looking for Israelites. This movie particularly doesn't explain that, but it explains to you a lot of the background underlying stuff that happened in the midst of it. So when you do your real research, you'll be able to tie that together with the movie. You also hear in this movie about Luis de Torres. So Luis de Torres is a man who was an Israelite. He was a Jew, right? And a practicing Jew. And a couple days before the voyage, he was forced to convert to Christianity so that, they knew that he wouldn't turn on them on the voyage. The whole point of him being there was to be an interpreter, so to speak, right? He was a Hebrew speaker. He spoke Paleo Hebrew, and he was supposed to be somebody that was an interpreter for Columbus with the Israelites that they were going to find in the New World. That was his sole purpose for being on the ship. He wasn't the only interpreter, but he was the main one. He was the head of the Hebrew-speaking people on the ship with Columbus, right? So we'll probably go into him a little bit too. But Judah, we good? Okay, bet. So real quick, I guess while we're waiting on that, I'll show you guys this part before we get into it. There's also a book that we're gonna go into called Lost Tribes and Promised Lands. I'm waiting on everything on that to load right quick. There's a couple more pages I need to get from here. I'm using a PDF version of it. I got the real one on my phone too, but I wanted to make sure that y'all can see it, so I'm trying to pull up the PDF. But this is what we're gonna do. So y'all know, if you've seen a lesson like this before, there's always been a discrepancy, or not always. I'm gonna say recently, in the last couple of years, since the stupid Negro only doctrine started, there was a discrepancy that started with whether or not Arzareth, the place that the 10 tribes went to in the book of Second Esdras or Fourth Ezra, right? Chapter 13, verse 40 to like 47, we'll say. In that chapter, verse 45, Columbus identified a land with, or the land that he came into contact with, rather, with the same name in the land that was found in that book, right? Arzareth, aka a land where no man dwelt. So this is from the Jewish encyclopedia, because the Jewish people, being people that took our artifacts and have our history and know our history, had to learn it so that they could try to make it their own, right? And pretend to be us, assume the identity, so to speak, right? If they say things like this, that means they had to have something to back it up, typically, right? So we weren't wrong when our elders rather said that Arzareth was the place that that the Israelites came to, which happened to be America. Columbus also made the same discovery, right? And the Jewish Encyclopedia agrees with Columbus and this Kaufman Kohler guy, right? So I'm gonna read this right quick, and then we'll go ahead and get into the clip, and then we'll read the book, and then we'll get some precepts, and y'all could go to sleep. So says Arzareth by Morris Josto Jr. and Kaufman Kohler. So the name of the land beyond the great river, far away from the habitation of man, in which the 10 tribes of Israel will dwell, observing the laws of Moses until the time of the restoration, according to 4th Ezra 1345, Columbus identified America with this land. And you can find this in Kaeslering's Christopher Columbus, which is like the memoir of Christopher Columbus. This guy went into the actual Portuguese memoir that Columbus wrote himself and wrote a book in it that was translated in English so we could read it ourselves, right? So you guys could go buy Kaeslering's Christopher Columbus on your own, but he also backs this up based on the things that he read that Columbus wrote on his own, right? That he 100% thought that America was the place that the 10 tribes went to. Ironically, the so-called Southern Kingdom, the niggas, was brought here too, which would make the prophecy true. So this has to be the place, which would mean that Columbus was correct, right? It says, and we'll get the prophecies as we go through this lesson. The name, it has been suggested by Schiller Shisney, is taken from Deuteronomy, because they forsook the covenant of the Lord. They went and served other gods. The Lord rooted them out of their land and cast them into another land, Eret, which is Arzareth, right? As this day. So this passage made to refer in Mishnah to the 10 tribes. So they're trying to say that basically the Mishnah even teaches that when this is spoken about after this place in Deuteronomy, it's in reference to the 10 tribes because that's the place that they will go to dwell until, the southern kingdom goes there and ends up dwelling with them, fulfilling a prophecy in Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Isaiah, all those things, right? So that's all I wanted to show you here. So that was just to prove what Arzareth is according to the Jewish Encyclopedia and also Columbus, right? So, all right, bet. So let's go ahead and get this thing going. Y'all hit the like button when y'all come in the building, Baba Kasha. People will see this lesson when we finish it. All right. All right, so basically, this is just the middle of the movie, basically. It's on YouTube. This is the actual YouTube movie. It's 2 hours and 30 minutes long, right? So y'all could go watch it on your own. I believe it's free. I'm not sure though. I got premium, so it don't tell me that type of stuff no more. But I think it's free. So you could go watch it and you can learn a little bit of history, right? But about 7 minutes and 30 seconds in, he starts talking about why he wants to go to the Americas. So listen carefully as to what he says.
They're your third win. By sailing west across the ocean sea.
What in the world? Why is it? Hold on. It's echoing. You heard that, right? I wasn't tripping. Okay. Let me unshare the audio. You gotta tell me if y'all can still hear this. Can't hear it. See, that ain't right. Satan always be trying to mess some shit up. Every time. Let's try it again.
Superstition. I believe the Indies are no more than 750 leagues west of the Canary Islands.
Can you be so certain?
The calculations of Toscanelli, Marin de Tir, Esdras.
Esdras is a Jew.
So what's worse?
2 minutes, and already you're a dead man.
So, in case I didn't catch what he said, he spoke about the calculations that were made by different geographers, right? And one of the people he mentioned was Esdras. Esdras isn't a geographer; he's a person in the Bible, right? So, that means that the calculations that Ezra made, right, or the story that Ezra has in his book that explains the calculations that the 10 tribes made to get to a certain land that no man dwelt. It was something that actual geographers during the time of Christopher Columbus held weight enough to that they were using it to, scale how many clicks it might take to get to a certain place, right? And he proves that not only in this movie, but in his memoirs, if you read them as well. So, so much to the point he believed in Ezra and the book of Ezra in the specific chapter 13, that a lot of people thought that he was a Jew undercover, right? Because he believed in the book so much, just specifically that part, because it helped him get to the place he was trying to go to, which was the New World, so to speak, the Americans, right? So I'll rewind that, let y'all hear that one more time, and then we'll go ahead and get into the real lesson.
The calculations of Toscanelli, Marin de Tir, Esdras.
Esdras is a Jew.
So what's worse?
2 minutes, and already.
He said, so is Christ. And then the guy says 2 minutes and you're already a dead man. Because as you guys know, around this time, this is 1492. The expulsion of the Jews starts around 1300, right? So this is within the time period that you're not allowed to be a Jew, which is also one of the reasons why Luis de Torres had to, convert in order to get on the ship that they're talking about sailing onto, right, in this conversation here. This isn't Luis de Torres, but this is Christopher Columbus and one of the scribes. So after this part, he's actually going to talk about Luis, but I'm not going to go into all that because I don't want to get a copyright strike. So if y'all want to watch this, y'all can go watch it on YouTube. Y'all can go download it and, go learn something. But yeah, as y'all see, he spoke about Ezra, and Ezra is somebody that he used and held a lot of weight into as far as helping him with his calculations to find the Americas. So now, we're gonna get into the lost tribes and promised lands. Boaz, I don't know if I'm gonna need you to read this because I kind of know where to read, but um, the precepts I'm gonna definitely need you for.
Kind of one.
All right, so I guess I'm gonna let that load, and I'm gonna try to move up. So we're gonna start on page 77. Don't know if it's gonna come up like it's supposed to, because this PDF page, this Doc Droid junk is trash. It's like after I load the pages, it unloads the pages after I move past the pages. So, tricky. Now let me try to see if I can get to page 77. That's where we're gonna start at. So, reason why I wanted to go over this book, it talks about Cortez. It talks about Montezuma, who is I guess the most famous chief of the Aztec nation, at least up to the time of Cortez. So Montezuma is a man that you know, he had a face-to-face interaction with Cortez, and this conversation with Cortez is literally what caused it allowed for Cortez and the Portuguese and Spanish people to learn everything that they needed to learn about the Aztecs in order to beat them, right? And it also confirmed that they were the people that, you know, they were looking for, that they were the 10 tribes. And Montezuma even gave a little bit of information on who the surrounding nations were, right? So this book gives a lot of history, which is why it's called Lost Tribes and Promised Lands, because it's got actual accounts from different Israelites throughout the time periods from like 1492 to damn 1700, right? So it's a good book. I recommend anybody to get it that's an Israelite that likes history, because it basically is going to teach you a lot of that, right? So Lost Tribes and Promised Lands by Ronald Sanders. All right, so let me pull this up, make sure y'all can see it. It loaded finally. So this is page 77. It'll be page 77 in the actual book too. I'm gonna read down here at the bottom. Let me see if I could zoom in a little bit. All right. So it says a striking element in Columbus's geographical religiosity is his intense and abiding interest in the fourth or second book of Esdras, right? As I was just talking about. The two apocryphal books of Esdras purport to be additional writings by and about the Old Testament Ezra. But the second or fourth book is a piece of full-fledged Hellenistic apocalyptic writing that was often regarded with suspicion by the church and just as often embraced by the heterodox, right? So obviously the church is going to not embrace it because they were trying to kill all the Jews and kick them all out and make them all convert, right? So yeah. Says Augustine had given guarded approval to Ezra's prophetic claims, and much was always to be made of this by the letter's defense in concluding Columbus. So basically, he believed in what Columbus said. In the marginal notes to Columbus's copy of the Alley, it is a relatively lengthy discourse on Ezra, or Second Ezra chapter 6 verse 42, which reads, upon the third day thou didst command that the waters should be gathered up in the seventh part of the earth. 6 parts thou hast dried up and kept them, to the intent that these some being planted of God and tilled might serve thee. So basically, you know, they're gonna put a bunch of different pieces of Ezra that Columbus copied, that he believed in. And as you see, once we get to the second page, page 79, you know, he's talking about chapter 13. So Ezra definitely was a book that Columbus was interested in, and he used it a lot to, I guess, fuel him to do a lot of his voyages, right? And as we see, when it came to the Northern Kingdom and actually tracking them, he used this book to do just that. So, yeah, I'll leave that for you guys to research. Let me see. Actually, I'll read this part. It says, but meanwhile, the apocryphal Ezra, which was, by the way, a book of special importance to many new Christians, has a good deal to say about the original lost tribes, and this could not have passed lightly under Columbus's somewhat mystical gaze, meaning because it spoke about the 10 tribes, and he was somebody that was trying to, make this big time discovery to make his name known forever. He definitely wanted to be the one to find out where these people were at, especially during this time of, religious like fervor that was going on in Europe at the time, right? Everybody was a religious nut. Everybody was trying to find out all these different religious things. So, what better discovery would it be to find the 10 lost tribes of Israel, right? So he ends up reading the book of Ezra, gets obsessed with it because he realizes that this book tells you where the people are at, and then he ends up going to look for them, right? And once he found them, to teach us, the story, and not give it away that we were the people they were looking for, because we're the ones that end up in captivity. They told us this lie about him looking for another trade route to China when he didn't have to go all the way around the world to do that, right? If you look at a map, you can tell there was only one route to China that was blocked off, so every other route he could use. But anyway, let me read a little bit more. It's just reading on to chapter 13. It says, "But this warlike multitude is subdued by the men of the sea, and then another multitude, a peaceful one, comes to him, whereof some were glad, some were sorry, some of them were bound, and others brought of them that were offered. This has brought him slaves from the mist. How could the exalted visionary Columbus not have seen an image of himself in this?" So basically, he's reading different things in the book of Ezra, and it's making him see himself, discovering the people that Ezra's talking about. And once he gets to verse 40, this is where he really starts to get, trippy. So it says, "If Columbus did indeed glimpse himself in the role of a man from the sea, then Ezra's identification of the peaceable multitude takes a special significance." Once you get to chapter 30, verse 40 to 42. Then it says, "Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanasar, king of Assyria, led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. But they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt, Arzareth or Etz Aretz," right? So, that they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. So Ezra's interpretation of this peaceable multitude then goes on to say that the lost 10 tribes enters into the Euphrates by the narrow passage of the river, which they were able to ford because God stopped the flow of the waters. And for them, he traveled another year and a half into the region of Arzareth, evidently a Greek corruption of the Hebrew Aretz Aharet, right? Another country or another place, right? There they were to remain until the latter time, and we know the rest of it. So Columbus basically used this to look for the people, and he got permission from King John II of Portugal and the Queen of Spain, and he was able to go over there and do what he had to do, and that's what happened, right? So, let me see. What's another page? Page 92. Let's see if that's gonna load for me. All right. Okay, so it says, "This high sea was most necessary for me," Columbus wrote in his journal for September 23rd, 1492. So this is basically like his first couple weeks on the ship, right? 17 days out at sea after a month-long stopover in the Canaries. By now, the crew were becoming restless, and there were loud grumbling among them. I gotta zoom in on this. It's hard to read. Okay. Grumbling among them that they would never get back to Spain. They had encountered a few winds blowing back eastward, and on this day the waters were so becalmed that the sailors claimed the sea simply was not high enough to bring them home again. Let me see what I want to read. Here we go. This is when Columbus made the entry just quoted, added that nothing like this land had ever been seen, save in the time of the Jews went out of Egypt and complained against Moses, who had brought them out of captivity. So the man was so obsessed with the Bible. The reason why I wanted to read this part, the man was so obsessed with the Bible that literally anything that happened to him since he started reading the book of Ezra, he tried to liken himself to things that happen in the Bible, or liken that situation to things that happen in the Bible, and you know, try to compare his situation to that. So the situation with him and his men groaning on the ship, he tried to liken that to the people, the brothers and sisters, our brothers and sisters, our ancestors that was out there with Moses during the Exodus, wanting to go back to Egypt because of the food they had to eat, right? He's basically making the same type of distinction and trying to compare and contrast his situation on the ship with Moses' situation with the Israelites, right? So it says, we do not know much concerning Columbus's crew about the 90 men aboard the 3 ships, but at least one of them was an Israelite whose presence as such was not merely accidental. We spoke about this man earlier. This was Luis de Torres, a convert of possibly only that year. And it's been confirmed since this book has been written that it was that year. It was actually 3 days before they went aboard. He was forced to convert. Who had once held the position with the governor of Murcia. He was like the head Jew over there. He was said to have known Hebrew, Aramaic, and some Arabic, and had been brought along by Columbus specifically as an interpreter. One of those purposes on the voyage, as we have seen, was to find the Great Khan, and Torres was to be the mouthpiece for the encounter, presumably on the basis of his Hebrew. Perhaps Columbus and his supporters had decided that the Great Khan, reported by Marco Polo and others, might be the Israelite king who dwelt across the river from Prester John. So I haven't really looked into that still. I don't even know if I ever will, but they think that the person in this book says that the Great Khan was thought of to be an Israelite. I still haven't seen any proof of that, but I'm gonna look it up eventually, and I'll come back to y'all with it if it's true. We'll make a lesson.
The other one. Can I be heard?
Yeah.
Oh, Khan.
I was thirsty.
I got a book. I have a book that says the same thing about the guy, Luis de Torres. It says exactly what you read.
What did it say?
The book is called Christopher Columbus and the Participation of the Jews in the Spanish and Portuguese discoveries. Hold on, because I gotta scroll back down to it.
All right, find it and then we'll read it. If it take you a minute.
It ain't gonna take me long. It's right. It's right here, 91. It says, among the explorers, it's page 96. It says, among the explorers' companions whose names have come down to us, the complete list is lost. There were several men in Jewish stock. For example, Luis de Torres, a Jew who had occupied a position under the governor of Murcia, maybe that might be Marco, and who was baptized shortly before Columbus sailed, as he understood Hebrew, Chaldee, and some Arabic.
And you see, that one said shortly before Columbus sailed, so they were a little bit more honest in the time frame in which he was converted.
I
might have to read that book. Good precept. So yeah, that's Luis de Torres. I implore everybody to do some research on that brother. Good brother, and he wasn't the only Israelite on the ship, but he was the head nigga in charge, if you will, right? So that's why they mentioned him. You know what I'm saying? And he actually stayed amongst the people. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he died in Cuba. So yeah. Let me see. I was gonna read the 94, but I don't really know if I want to now. I'm trying to make sure there's nothing I needed to read on here. My bad, y'all. Bear with me. I ain't did this lesson in a minute. All right. Let me see. As he contemplated these people, okay, so now he's seen them. Columbus was perhaps recalling the peaceable multitude who greeted Ezra's man of the sea. Nope. I don't want to read that. Let me see. This is basically just when Columbus hops off the ship. He says this about the people. Neither are they black like Ethiopians. He goes, their hair is smooth and straight, for they do not dwell where the rays of the sun strike most vividly. So they're black people, but they're not as dark as some Ethiopians. So, you know, yeah. Y'all know what that looks like. Says this clearly was meant as reassurance to anyone who felt as he did that black men tended to be more barbarous than whites of any condition. So he was basically calling them savages and stuff. And it does, purport that they were like black men, even though they weren't as dark as Ethiopians, so to speak, right? So, yeah. And he's going to give like a couple of different descriptions and all that type of stuff, which we've read before. So I'm not going to go too much in depth into that. If y'all want to read more of it, get the book. All right. I'm just kind of going through this to give you guys a couple of points to prove that Columbus himself was indeed after the Israelites, and it wasn't like no coincidence that he ended up finding us. So, yeah, that should be good on that part. Let me see. There's one more thing I want to read on here, Montezuma, and then we'll go ahead and close this book. If this don't load on here, I'm just going to read it on my phone because this was the page that was giving me some problems earlier. What page is this? Oh, look at that. Most High gonna make it work for y'all. All right. 148. Okay, so now we at the part where Montezuma is met with Cortez. Like I said before, Montezuma is a man who he was a ruler of the Aztecs. He was a chief, and he's basically going to give Cortez, who was the head conquistador in charge, right? Head Spanish man, the conqueror of the people that speak Spanish today, right? Yeah, Northern Kingdom tribes other than Gad and Reuben. All of them was basically taken down by Cortez and his people. That's why they all speak Spanish. So, Montezuma met with Cortez and said this: the Spaniards had barely been shown to their quarters when Cortez was led by the Aztec emperor into a large room and told to sit on the throne there. Then that's how freaking nice our people was. We just let this dude come in and sit on the damn throne, right? That don't make no damn sense to me, but that's what he did. Said then, according to Cortez's account, so Cortez wrote this in Cortez's memoir because he kills Montezuma after this. So this is what he wrote down and said that Montezuma said to him, right? Cortez's account, Montezuma proceeded to regale him with gifts and to tell him this story. Long ago in our sacred writings, our ancestors informed us that neither I nor any other inhabitants of this land currently are indigenous to it. So, though we call this Indigenous Peoples Day, none of us is indigenous to this land. We all got here off a damn boat, and he's about to explain that. The same story that we read in 2nd Ezra chapter 13 is the same story he's about to give to Cortez, right? So it says, none of us are indigenous to it, but are foreigners, come here from a completely different place, and that our race was brought here by a lord whose vassals they all were, meaning we were basically their slaves. We were things that they owned, and they came and dropped us off, right? Who then returned to his native country. So he dipped on us, he dropped us off and then dipped back, right? After a long time, he came here again. This is the part that Ezra doesn't put in the book, right? So, in fact, Boaz, can you read that right quick? 2nd Ezra chapter 13, verse 40. Because now I want to compare and contrast, right? Most of this story is in the book, but this next part that we're about to read, where the sailor for Shalmaneser that came and dropped us off, he doesn't end up being written in the book of Ezra that he came back to see what happened, right? But Cortez said that that's what happened. He came back and saw his people, all their women sleeping with us and stuff like that, and so on and so forth, which is why a lot of the so-called Northern Kingdom tribes here in the Americas might have an Assyrian type look. They got that long, slick hair, you know what I'm saying? They got the the sandy brown skin is because they mixed with these people once they got off the ship, and they continued to do so all the way up until the time that somebody else got to the land, right? So that's a lot of time for them to make the whole damn place look like that, right?
Okay.
So, but let me read that part, and then we're gonna, you know, in fact, read 13 and 40 right quick.
Khan, it's the book of Second
We'll read a
Ezra,
little bit.
chapter 13 and verse 40. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of OC, the king whom Salamander, the king of Assyria, led away captive and carried them over the waters. And so came they into another land. But they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt.
So it doesn't explain here that the guy ever came back and saw anything. You know what I'm saying? It basically just lets him alone after this. Once he drops them off, it doesn't talk about the Assyrian guys anymore, right? So Montezuma is gonna give you guys an extra information of the account that happened as to why we end up staying in the land and how we end up surviving and how we end up growing in numbers and why we look the way we look and all that type of stuff, right? So he says, the guy returned to his native country. After a long time, he came here again. So after some time passed, maybe months, maybe years, whatever it is, right? He comes back and found the men he had left behind now married to the native women of the country with many children living in the villages they had built. He wanted to take them back with him, but they wouldn't go. They wouldn't even accept him as their Lord. So he went home, right? And you got to understand, a lot of those men were our men, right? A lot of them women were our women, and a lot of them, men was their women. A lot of them men was like a women was their women. So it was a mix of our people mixing with their people once they got off the ship. Obviously, it was more of our people on the ship than their people because the whole plan was to take us from their land and bring us over here. But there was an extent of our people sleeping with them, and that's what happened. So they ended up mixing, and when the guy came back, we all were his vessels. So everybody was to call him Lord, right? And basically nobody wanted to hop back on the ship with him and go back. So we all stayed here. It's basically what Montezuma was trying to tell him, right? So reading on, says the moral drawn from the history is we have always believed that his descendants had to come and subjugate his land and make us their vassals. So he's trying to say that they always knew that there was going to be other people that came with them that came to subjugate the land, right? And basically destroy everything. And if you know anything about Native history, there were always Native tribes that were cool with people, and then there was Native tribes that always fought other Native tribes, right? So, like the tribe I come from, we were cool with everybody as the Shoshone, and once the white man got here, we started just killing everybody because we didn't know who to trust. That's what Comanche means. It means enemy, because we was the type that, hey, if you look at us the wrong way, that Deuteronomy 28:54 will make that happen. And if Esau, we scalping you and sticking a piece of bread in your mouth. It is what it is. And we stealing your horses. We the first people to ever steal a horse in America. So it's like, but then there was other tribes like the Lakota Sioux, right? There's a fraction of them that have like an Assyrian type of connotation to them. The Ojibwe, right? All of them type of tribes. So they might have had enemy tribes and stuff like that were around them, like Cheyenne or something, and the Sioux, right? The Navajo, and those being authentic native tribes, they would have been fighting with those Assyrian type tribes, right? Once the Asians got here, there was Asian type tribes, right? There was the Choctaw and the Chickasaw, right? The Chickasaw is like the Asian tribe, and the Choctaw is the black people. So they would have been fighting each other. You feel me? So that's how it goes. But so like all the native people wasn't the same. And what Montezuma is explaining is that they knew that there was going to be people once they got off the ships you know, we're not always going to be able to be cool with some of these folks. Some of them are going to be able to subjugate the land. And it ended up happening again once the white man got here, which is why, you know, Gad and the Northern Kingdom tribes will have to overcome at the end, because they've been subjugated for a long ass time, right? So says, now since you say that you come from the direction where the sun rises, because they also know about Deuteronomy 28, right? Deuteronomy 28:49. You could get that right quick, Boaz?
Deuteronomy what now?
28 and verse 49, because that's what Montezuma is about to speak on. He's talking about him coming from the place that the sun rises and knowing that the people that are supposed to subjugate them are supposed to come from this direction, meaning the east, right?
I got it.
Read 28:49.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth.
So check this out. Oh, okay. Well, go ahead. Yeah, finish that out.
Okay. A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand.
Mm-hmm.
A nation, it says a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor shew favor to the young.
All right, So basically, right now, since you say that you come from that direction where the sun rises, the east, right, the end of the earth, and because of what you tell us about the great Lord or King who sent you here, we believe and hold it for certain that he is our natural Lord, particularly since, as you tell us, he has known about us for a long time. So here's the thing, right? Montezuma got confused, and this is partly why, you know, the Aztecs, Issachar, ended up in the situation that they were in. You've heard the phrase, the devil knows the Bible too, right? So Cortez came knowing the Bible, with the Bible, and preaching Christianity, right? He's speaking about the king as a king that knows about the 10 tribes and is trying to bring them back to Christ, so to speak, right? So he mentioned Christ in the aspect, you know, that he's supposed to, which, as we read down, Montezuma is going to mention him as Quetzalcoatl, right? So we'll explain who that is in a little bit. But because Cortez mentions the Savior, right? Montezuma is about to go into the story on how their people know that they're waiting on the Messiah to come back and save them. So he's thinking that the people that were there to subjugate them, according to Deuteronomy 28:49, must have been the people from the east that hopped on the ship with them, right? And that these people from the east, they must be, you know, part of our folks. They must be like Israelites coming to help us get back to our land and everything like that. That's who he thinks Cortez is, and that's why he let his guard down, which is what Cortez wrote. So, yeah. All right. So it says, we believe that it holds certain that you are our Lord, particularly since you tell us he has known about us for a long time. Therefore, hold on. Therefore, you may be assured that we shall obey you and treat you as our Lord in place of the great Lord whom you speak, and that you may command at will in all the land over which I rule, for you shall be obeyed. All that we have is completely at your disposal. So he even gave him access to everything he wanted because he's thinking he's of his people and that he's actually here to bring him back to Hamashiach Yahushua, Quetzalcoatl, right? It says subsequent tradition has made this story into a legend of Quetzalcoatl, the plump serpent, right, of Aztec pantheon. But this is not necessarily so. The Lord of Quetzalcoatl was collected and elaborated after the conquest, and it's quite likely that tradition was unwittingly bent by the combined consciousness of Spaniard and Aztec to conform to the powerful myth spun here by Cortez. So they're trying to say that Cortez basically, you know, led them to believe that he was this person here, and he was basically playing them the whole time, as we now know. This is an old book. It was made in the 1700s, 1800s. So, yeah, that's all I wanted to show you guys, though, right? Just wanted to give you guys a history. Let me see if it's going to explain this part. Yeah, that's it. So, clearly, Montezuma knew about the Israelites. he knew about the curses, and he knew that there was people coming to subjugate them, and that somebody was supposed to save them, whether it was the Messiah or somebody coming in place of the Messiah, right? But or for the Messiah, like an angel or something, which he thought that Cortez was that person, and obviously he wasn't. As you read down into the story, Cortez is gonna hit him in the back of the head, knock him out, and basically take over the whole kingdom, since he already gave him access to it anyway. So, and that's how the Aztecs fall. But yeah, that's Lost Tribes and Promised Lands. Like I said, I advise everybody to go get that book if you haven't read it before. It gives you things like Reuben, page 363 talks about Reuben, you know, being the Seminole Indians and everything like that. Gad being their brothers, not too far away from them. So for those of you guys that also think the 12 tribes chart is completely wrong, there's books that, go into the same thing that the 12 tribes chart says, like this one right here, and the Star in the West. So that's also something that y'all should look into. Get this book for that reason, because it also helps you validate things like the 12 tribes chart to an extent. All right. In fact, let me see if I can pull that up right quick.
Slacky, can I
know
add?
the page isn't gonna. Yeah, you can go ahead and add. I know the page ain't gonna load on there because I ain't loaded up on the computer, but I'll try to read the Reuben thing to y'all right quick. Go ahead.
So this was something out of the book I was telling you about. The section is called Indians and Israelites. It says in Cuba, Hispaniola, and the other islands, which he discovered, Columbus found natives who had their caciques and their own language and traditions. To what race did these Aborigines Aborigines of America belong? Several writers have asserted and have displayed much learning in attempting to prove that the Aborigines were descendants of the Jews. This result was reached already in the 16th century by the Spanish clergyman Roldan. His arguments were derived from an unpublished manuscript, and it goes on to talk about like certain things that they did, like for example, it talks about customs that they kept. Here it says you see, in traditions, in religious conceptions, or in religious ceremonies justify the acceptance of this ethological theory. Rodin's chief argument support of his view is the language of the Indians. Support of his view is the language of the Indians in Hispaniola, Cuba, Jamaica, and the adjoining islands. He contends that it has many resemblances to Hebrew. In fact, he even calls it corrupted Hebrew, which I know that's something that I believe you touched on before, Adawan, as far as like as far as that. And even in the scriptures, it talks about like how I can't remember where it was at, but it was like one person was saying one word and another person was saying another word. They said it was the same thing, but the way it was said, it was totally different. Like it was corrupt. It says,
like the Arabic with Muhammad in it.
Right, Khan. But it talks about it goes into and says their rites and ceremonies as well as their language. From one of the main arguments is favor of the theory of descent. Circumcision prevailed among the Indians. They often bathed in rivers and streams. They refrained from touching the dead and from tasting blood. They had definite fast days. Marriage with sisters-in-law was permitted. If they were childless widows, wives were discarded for new helpmates. They also sacrificed first fruits on high mountains and under shady trees. They had temples and carried a holy ark before them.
Hey, Salaki, just to, first fruits was their first Thanksgiving, right? That's how we taught them how to plant, make potatoes, corn, all that type of stuff. So, and they used that growing season, so to speak, to learn how to cultivate all the crops that they know how to cultivate now. And,
Right.
eventually took the land from us. So that's definitely a fact. They put that in all the history books that we celebrated first fruits because it's how they learned how to grow anything. But go ahead.
They said they carried a holy ark before them in time of war. They also, like the 10 tribes, inclined to idol worship. All writers and travelers agree, moreover, that there were many Jewish types of face among the Indians, the Aborigines of America. The question whether the American Indians are descendants of the Jews, which I don't even like. The funny thing is why they put that into the text right then after the fact of explaining all
Mm-hmm.
the ritual ceremonies and them keeping like the covenants where it's like, you doing the circumcision, you're not touching dead bodies, you're not indulging in blood, you know what I'm saying, how you marry and everything like that. Like they're keeping all of these customs, like, they're obviously familiar with them, but then you go to raise the question to say whether or not if these American Indians are descendants of the Jews or not. Like it's still in question. Like, really?
Yeah, they wild, bro. Definitely a wild one.
I'm gonna send you that though, Adawan, so you can check it out.
So actually, this page is Joseph. So I missed Ruben. But oh, I'm lying. He's in here. So Ruben and Joseph are on this page. All right, bet. So I'm gonna read this one and then we'll shut the book and get some precepts. This is page 363 and 364. The chapter is 30 is a lost tribe discovered in New York. All right. This is the story of Eldad the Danite. So there definitely was Danites in New York because Eldad knew he was one of them. So anybody tell you Dan is dead, Dan is gone, Dan don't know where they at, we don't know where Dan is, you know, I still got that lesson I'm working on to try to prove the discrepancy in Revelations to show that Joseph and Manasseh, or is it Ephraim, one of them, it shouldn't be both of them because they're the same people. So one of those names should be Dan. I'm gonna still try to make that lesson. You know what I'm saying? Still trying to get all my research, my ducks in a row for that because I want it to be a flawless victory. You know what I'm saying? But
Time.
Eldad the Danite was in New York, so we got Kushub the Danite there right now. You know, I think Aharon is a Danite. He from up there, so I'm gonna try to prove it. But anyway, it says in September 1644, a Portuguese Marano named Antonio de Montezinos arrived in Amsterdam, right? having after having lived for some years in South America, and proceeded to tell the leaders of the recently established Jewish community there a story that caused them to think of him as the later day Eldad the Danite. 2.5 years before, he told them while traveling in the mountains of Quito, he had heard some of his Indian guides remark that the natives of the country deserved all the suffering they had undergone at the hands of the Spaniards. When he asked them to explain why they thought such a thing, they had replied mysteriously that it was because we so badly treated the holy people, the greatest in the world, right? Meaning themselves. Nothing more had been offered by them in this point, but later in the same conversation, Francisco, one of the Indian guides, had declared that his countrymen would be avenged upon the Spaniards in time anyway. So more proving that he's talking about themselves because he's saying that they're going to be avenged for the hurt that they've been caused. But it's because they didn't do what they're supposed to do. Like in old Israelite talk, you'd be treating yourself bad if you didn't keep the law, statutes, and commandments because they were made for our good, right? That's Deuteronomy 10 and 12. So Israelites might not speak like that now, but the Israelite in his right mind back in the day, he would look at him not keeping the laws as something that he's doing to trouble himself or harm himself, because that's exactly what it's going to do, which is why he spoke about it like that, right? So, anyway, reading on. Ooh, let me see if I want to fast forward a little bit. All right, anyway, we'll just continue. I hate when it does that crap. Okay, it says the two references apparently were to the same people, but Montesinos, not seeing their full meaning at that time, had put the whole matter out of his mind for the time being. So, as it says, the two references about, one people, was being badly treated and then the people being avenged, it's about the same people. He just didn't understand it at the time, like some of y'all probably didn't understand it when y'all first read it either, but you will soon. It says upon his return to Cartagena, the Judaizing Montesinos had found himself accused by the Inquisition and put in prison. So he was basically accused by the Jewish Inquisition. They were putting Jews away, right? And he's a Judaizer, so he got thrown in jail. Praying for salvation in his cell one day, he was reciting what was then a standard formula. Hold on. Amongst the New World Morenos, which the Morenos would have been mixed Jews, right? Blessed be the name of Yahweh, who has not made me an idol. I'm an idler, a barbarian, a Negro, an Indian, and then he basically stopped and paused. When suddenly he stopped, those Indians, he told himself, they are Hebrews. So he realized, oh damn, they my people. So pondering this thought, increasing incredulously, and yet with growing conviction, he resolved that if he ever was released, he would seek out the Indian Francisco and try to learn the truth. So Montesino's story, unclear as to the circumstances of his incarceration, is equally unclear as to those of his release. So they don't really know why he got locked up besides being a Judaizer, and they don't know how he got released, but somehow the Most High set his ass free. So, but released he was, and he immediately went to Francisco, revealing himself as a Jew. So he's letting him know now, yo, I'm a Jew, Francisco. So what's the deal? What's up with y'all? Who are y'all? And then Montesinos proclaimed his conviction that Francisco hidden people were of the same race as he. Would Francisco lead him to them? So he basically asked Francisco, yo, where your people at so I can find out more about who y'all are? Because I think y'all my people, right? So the two men were soon back in the rugged mountains in which Francisco had made his initial revelation, marching relentlessly for a week before he finally came to a halt. It was a Saturday, the Sabbath. Montesinos makes a point of telling us that they had come to a river larger than the Duro, and there echoes of the Sabbaton, or these words be crazy, the Sambiton, in all of this. Here Francisco announced, is where your brothers will be seen, or is this where your brothers will be seen? Waving a banner high in the air, the Indian guide soon was greeted by a puff of smoke far away, far from the other bank of the river in response to the signal. The two men waited. Eventually, a canoe appeared bearing 3 men and a woman, all of them Indians, to the place where Francisco and Montesinos were standing in the water's edge. So now they had this whole, comprised smoke signal thing where they basically, alert people that they are here. You know what I'm saying? And he told these folks they was there. They pull up in a canoe, and now they're gonna greet him. And this is what they say when they greet. So the woman on the boat then turned to her male companions to explain the situation. Upon hearing her words, they rose up, went over to Montesinos, and to his utter astonishment, they said, Shema Israel, Adonai, Elihu, Adonai Echad, which we would say Shema Yashallah, Allahayinawa Yahweh Echad, right? That's Hero Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one, right? So that's the Shema, the credo of Israel. So they're recited in Hebrew, the fundamental credo in Judaism. So that right there proved that these people was Israelites to Montesinos, which has to prove they're Israelites because you wouldn't know that unless you're an Israelite. You know what I'm saying? It's something that's supposed to be passed down from generation to generation. So this book here proves that that's who those people were. I ain't even mean to X out of that. Hold on, I gotta pull this back up. My bad. Wow. So that proves who these people are, but he's gonna get a little bit more in depth with it. So So they're recited in Hebrew, the fundamental credo in Judaism. A brief conversation then ensued in their common ancestral tongue. So now they're speaking, you know what I'm saying, Hebrew, that broken Indian Hebrew that we speak. According to Montezinos, whose fluency in it is almost as perplexing to the reader of the narrative as it is that the three mysterious new companions. So the three people there with him are also like they're surprised that he's able to speak, you know, Hebrew too. They're like, oh damn, all right, because this is a brother, he's a nigga, right? So this is a brother or somebody that looks like a brother, right? Probably looks closer to how I look, and then an authentic looking Native American, right? And they're meeting face to face. They're both able to speak Hebrew, and you know, it is what it is, as you see, right? Now they're having a good old conversation, and he's about to find out he's got other brothers and sisters nearby. So it says they told him that they were themselves of the tribe of Reuben. How about that? And that the tribe of Joseph lived on an island nearby. We know who Joseph is, right? Joseph would be two people, Ephraim and Manasseh, right? And where do we say they are now? Oh, look at that. Look. Joseph and his two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh. So they know there's two other tribes nearby on islands next to Reuben, right? So there you have it. You know what I'm saying? Puerto Rico and Cuba, as we say it on the chart. But anyway, it says the day when they were at the last to issue the fourth into the world was coming soon, they explained, but in the meantime, they could not allow visitors to cross over to them. So basically, they were keeping themselves a secret. All right. So I'll drop that there. But I wanted to prove that they knew who they were and, you know, they spoke Hebrew and all that type of stuff. So y'all can see that we don't be lying when we say that it was really Israelites over here. All right. My people being some of them. So let me see what some of these comments say. Yeah, all right. All praises. So yeah, I guess we're gonna get a couple precepts. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to pull a little bit of the history out for y'all. I implore y'all to get those books, read them, learn them. Lost Tribes and Promised Lands, Black Indians, A Star in the West, Hebrewisms of America, Hebrewisms of Africa, West Africa. It's a bunch of books you could get. What's that book you got right now, Boaz?
It's called Christopher Columbus and the Participation of the Jews in the Spanish and Portuguese Discoveries. I actually found it like a PDF online.
I was gonna say you could find a PDF of it because I've seen that book before.
Yeah, because it says it came out the Harvard College Library. So
there it is. So yeah, I would definitely go look into those books, man. It could get you some good history. You could debunk these long knee only niggas that think they know something, right? You could debunk the people that say that the Northern Kingdom aren't, you know, Hispanics and Native Americans, because if it's not, these precepts that we're about to read aren't true. So we went into Arzareth, and the Jewish Encyclopedia even acknowledges that Arzareth has to be the place that Columbus found, which happens to be the Americas, right? And the Caribbean. So let's get Jeremiah 17:4. Because it's Indigenous Americans Day, right? Indigenous Peoples Day, and in the Americas. And you know, well, a lot of us don't know who the hell we are. We think we're indigenous. And it's funny because this is a day that I'm gonna say Mexicans celebrate probably more than anybody, right? Y'all know I ain't lying either, like Issachar, you know what I'm saying? Gad, it's a couple of them that celebrate this day, but they don't really give a damn. You know what I'm saying? I ain't really never seen, you know, Cubans or Puerto Ricans with this day too much. So this really like this is like another Mexican holiday in America. You know what I'm saying? And a couple of Gadites celebrated too, Native Americans. So, but bottom line is Montezuma, right? Probably the most famous Issacharite Aztec chief ever, told y'all that y'all not from this place, right? It's in his memoirs and his writing that you're not indigenous to this land. Yet our people all think that this is Indigenous Americans Day. So yeah, y'all was out. No, I ain't lying. So like, you know, that's basically what it is. Our people aren't indigenous to this land, and our ancestors knew that. But now all of a sudden, our people have forgotten because we've lost our heritage, right? We discontinued from the heritage that was given to us as well. It wasn't just the Southern Kingdom. You know what I'm saying? Just because some people wear ponchos and they wear the fringes at the powwows and stuff like that, don't mean that they know anything about that or know where it came from or anything, right? Because you go to a powwow and ask a native, yo, what's some things on your shirt? He'll probably call them fringes. If you say why they wear them, he's gonna just make up some mumbo jumbo Indian story off the top of his head because they don't have no origin story for those that they could think of because they lost their heritage. They don't know that it comes from the Bible, right? So get that. Jeremiah 17:4.
It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 17 and verse 4. And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee.
Mm-hmm.
And I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever.
Yeah. And I've heard it taught like, oh, this ain't talking about the Native Americans and them Hispanic people because, you know, they know this land is theirs. They're indigenous to this place. Well, you just heard Montezuma tell you that they're not. This was a land that we didn't know at some point, right? And guess what? He told us as soon as we got to this land, we didn't know we were subjugated because we got off the ship with the damn slave master from Assyria. How about that? We got off the ship to serve the Most High in the land where never mankind dwelt, but we got off the ship with the enemy. So the same thing ended up happening to us that happened during the time of Nehemiah and Ezra, right, to the Southern Kingdom. When y'all started marrying the foreign women and y'all kids start speaking their languages and all that type of stuff, same stuff started happening here. That's why all the native tribes, depending on where they was at, all of their Hebrew is different. There's Algonquin, there's Iroquois, there's all these different type of Native American dialects that have Hebrew traces in it, but none of them are the exact same. It's because it's a mix of Assyrian too. And the Assyrian people that they was off the boat with, when the Asians got here, it was a mix of their languages too, because we was mixing with them. When the Attila the Huns people got here, it was a mix of their languages because we was mixing with them. When them damn big-headed Hamite people, what they call the Olmecs, when they got here, it was a mix of them. You know what I'm saying? Of their languages and their customs and stuff like that. So we mixed with all these different people. The same way y'all mixed with all these different people and ended up losing our heritage and our culture in the midst of it, right? Serving their gods instead of the God that we came here to this land to serve. Right? So yeah, we don't got to get that. I was going to prove something about the passed over part, proving that you could pass over in the ship according to Mark 5:21, but I'll just give y'all that preset. You ever hear people say, oh, they can't pass over and walk and stuff like that, and or when you pass over, it has to be dry shod. It can't be over a ship. Well, Mark chapter 5:21 explains that Yahushua hopped in a ship, and it explains he passed over. So that's just a precept in case y'all get into a debacle. But let's get Zechariah chapter 2 and verse 6. Because as we were talking before, right, there's prophecy that has to happen. We're supposed to be oppressed in this land together, the land of the north, right? The Messiah is supposed to take us from the land of the north and bring us to Israel. And when I say us, I mean the northern and the southern kingdom. We're supposed to go together because once that happens, only thing that's supposed to be left is a remnant that's scattered to the four corners of the earth that has to get picked up, right? The bulk of us are already supposed to be together at that point, according to the prophecy. So there's no way in hell, if we believe that we, the Israelites here in America, that the so-called black people, African Americans, you know what I'm saying, and Haitians, Jamaicans, West Indian people, all of them, right? It's no way that y'all are the Southern Kingdom and the Northern Kingdom isn't the Hispanics and Native Americans because of the things that we know that happened as far as slavery, all the curses that have happened that, you know, coincide with Deuteronomy 28, and the fact that if y'all are those people, there's no way possible that the Northern Kingdom can't be them, and the prophecies still be true. Otherwise, you have to go through a whole nother captivity again and wait for the Northern Kingdom to be put in captivity with y'all. Right? So that was up. Because we've been here a long ass time. So let's get that. Zechariah 2 and 6.
It's the book of Zechariah, chapter 2 and verse 6. Ho, ho, come forth and flee from the land of the north, saith the Lord.
Keep going.
For I have spread you abroad as the four winds of the heaven, saith the Lord.
You see that? So we've been spread abroad, according to Deuteronomy like 28:64. We've basically been, spread amongst all people on the face of the earth. So we in the four corners for sure. But the land of the north is where the both of us, it's where the bulk of us are, right? We all in Babylon, the great whore, right? According to Revelation 17. So give me Jeremiah 50 and 33. Because this is the prophecy that's going to explain, and then you're going to go to Jeremiah 16. This is the prophecy, the prophecy that's going to explain how we're supposed to be oppressed and where we're supposed to be oppressed, right? If the Messiah is supposed to take us from the land of the north, like it says in Jeremiah 16, which we'll read next, there's no way that this prophecy stands true, you know what I'm saying, or isn't true rather right now, because we in the land of the north. So that prophecy has to be talking about North America and the Americas as a whole. So go ahead, read that. Jeremiah 50 and 33.
Okay, it's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50 and verse 33. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go.
So you see, we were oppressed together. They refused to let us go. That's what's been happening here. There's a bunch of different books we could read. Like here, let me pull this up right quick. Let me see. This is a map, by the way. Shows you guys a route that was taken in Second Ezra chapter 13, and the way that Christopher Columbus took the route and decided to draw it up, right? Before leaving the Euphrates, we come through here, take the boat through here, sail around the bottom of Africa, hit South America, the Caribbean, and all that type of stuff over here. You could travel from South America, go up, which is the route that he says we took in the book of Ezra. And Columbus kind of cut that short. He cut through here and landed in the Caribbean, right? So he even had a whole map drawn out based on how we made our route and how he was going to make his, and the different routes and avenues he could take depending on how many times they wanted to make this voyage, right? But also, there's books that prove Jeremiah 50 and 33 to be true, right? One of the books I like a lot, it's Indian Slavery and Colonial Times Within the Present Limits of the United States by Almond Wheeler Lauber, right? It was made in 1880. So this book explains a lot of the time periods and a lot of the situations specifically where Native Americans and Negroes were in slave plantations together, being held fast. You know what I'm saying? And this is a cracker that wrote this stuff. So he's proving that we are Israelites, and I'm sure he didn't even mean to do that. But he basically wrote a book that gives all these accounts of when Native Americans and Hispanics were put in captivity together just in the Americas. Some of them were put on slave ships to prove that both of us were taken into captivity and went through Deuteronomy 28:68. It wasn't just Judah being taken to the Americas and go through Deuteronomy 28:68. Northern Kingdom brothers and sisters was taken to Europe. They was taken to Africa. They was taken to, the Caribbean islands, and they was brought back to the Americas, some of them, right? So, all of us went through the same curses, basically. And this book, particularly, Indian Slavery and Colonial Times Within the Present Limits of the United States, by Almond Wheeler Lauber, is a book that explains that. So that's also a book I would go get. I haven't found that one on no PDF, but you can buy it. It's not that expensive. So Let me see if there's another picture I want to show you guys. I mean, it's a lot of these, you know what I'm saying? All right. Look, this says in 1675, 15 Indians were captured and sent to Boston, tied neck to neck like galley slaves. All right. Much against the will of the populace, they were given trial or trail. All were finally acquitted. Yeah, it's supposed to be trial. All were finally acquitted, except 2 were sentenced to be sold out of the country as slaves. So these people were going to be put on a boat. During the years 1675 and 1676, one finds mention of the sale of Indians in Plymouth in a group of about 157, 160, 10, and 1 from June 25th, 1625 to September 23rd, 1676. The records show the sale by Plymouth colonial authorities of 188 Indians. In Massachusetts Bay Colony, a similar disposal of captives was accomplished. On one occasion, about 200 were transported and sold. So, that's just one little account, but this is a whole book full of things like that tell you when Indians were sold, when they were put in captivity, and there's instances where some of them are put in captivity with the Negro, like this first one we had on here. It says, in all southern colonies, Indian slaves worked in the fields side by side with Negroes up to the time of the Revolution in 1776. It says, yeah, and there we go, Jeremiah 50:33. So, that's just a little bit of that, so y'all can see it. Give me Jeremiah 16:14, so we could prove that we're supposed to come from the land of the north.
It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 16 and verse 14. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that it shall no more be said, the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north.
So basically, it's telling you about, Yahushua. It's no longer going to be talked about the Exodus once we get to the kingdom. Most High will, right? It'll be talked about how we escaped this place, the land of the north, right? North America, with 3 Ks. So just a precept to that, Jeremiah 31:8. Behold, I will bring them from the north country and gather them from the coast of the earth, right? So we're going to be gathered from the north country, right? In bulk. And then the remnant, as it says in Isaiah 11, they're going to be gathered afterwards from the 4 corners of the earth, right? And with them, the blind and the lame and the woman with child, along with them, the 1/3, right? And her that travaileth with child together, a great company shall return thither. So it's literally explaining to you how we're going to come back, the situation we're going to come back, and where we're going to come back from in the order that it's going to happen, according to the Bible, right? The bulk that is oppressed together, according to Jeremiah 50:33, is going to leave first. Then the remnant in the 4 corners of the earth, along with the 1/3, right? 144,000 is going to be the first one to dip out. So that's how that works. And we see it clearly in the scriptures. It has to be from the land of the north, which has to be here. So, I don't really got too much else, man. It's I hope it was made clear. There's a lot more we could go into, but I know we started late, so I ain't trying to keep y'all up late. For Thanksgiving, we'll go into this a little bit more. It'll be a little bit more clean. But for Columbus, I wanted to at least show you guys all the things y'all could go into to get the truth on him, right? So you got that movie, 1492, Conquest of Paradise, right? You got the books, Lost Tribes in Promised Land, Star in the West. What's that book you said again, Boaz? It's a long ass title. I can't remember.
Oh man, it's Christopher Columbus and the participation of the Jews in the Spanish and Portuguese discoveries.
Yeah, all of that. Christopher Columbus and the participation of the Jews in the Spanish and Portuguese discoveries. Goodness gracious.
I know, right?
That's crazy. But so get that book. Yeah, I mean, hell, start with those three because I know most of y'all probably not even gonna get those. So start with those three, and then you could expand, right? And if y'all ever get into it after you get that information, that's when I would get the book by Wheeler Lava, because it'll put you in a situation where then you could back up all of the prophecies that you have in the Bible with the history that you've learned about Columbus and why he did what he did. And I would also get that history on Luis de Torres too, because it could prove that they actually put an Israelite on the ship, right? Which is important because, you know, how you going to talk to the Israelites, and how is it known that you want to go see Israelites if you don't got somebody that can talk to them? Because Columbus ain't speak no Hebrew. He was a fat Portuguese white boy. So, you know, he used the Luis de Torres to do it, the smart brother, and threw him on the ship, made him convert within a couple of days' notice. And he had to leave all his family behind and everything like that, and hop on the ship with a bunch of stinking crackers to go speak to his people in a whole nother country. So I would do some research on him too, right? But yeah, man, that's really all I got for y'all today. Hope y'all enjoyed the lesson. It was just a little bit of history for y'all, nothing too crazy. Like I said, we'll go a little bit more in depth. Some stuff I like to talk about more when it comes to Thanksgiving. You know what I'm saying? But I kind of wanted to do this lesson just to prove, one, we're not indigenous to this land. We are the Israelites, so-called Hispanics and Native Americans, right? The so-called indigenous people to the Americas. None of us are from here. And our ancestors and old kings used to know that, right? And also to prove who our enemy is still to this day. Because a gift destroyeth the heart, right? And oppression is supposed to make a wise man mad. Typically, we'd be oppressed throughout the day, but today, right now, you know what I'm saying, as we speak, there's Hispanic and Native Americans all over the place at bars, drinking their hearts out right now. Happy as hell because they have a day to celebrate under the sun again, right? So, all you damn Instacarites just had y'all Independence Day last month. Now y'all doing this again. So, we got to do better as a people. And God drink every day. So, you know, there's a bunch of alcoholics in our community. So I mean, we gotta do better. But main thing is we have to learn our history first. You know, you don't do better if you think you a heathen, right? You don't do better if you live as an American. There's no real culture that comes with that, which is why they teach us that that's all we are. So, you know, it's best to learn who we actually are, which is why I keep doing these lessons over and over and over again. Trying to put stuff out there that's going to make y'all go read some stuff to find out more information about yourselves to stop you from doing the BS that y'all continue to do, right? So that's all I got, man. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Let's get Daniel 17 and 7:18 and get up out of here.
Okay. This is
that's a good book too. History of the American Indians by James Adair. All the books James Adair wrote about history is good. Get all his damn books.
Okay. This is the book of Daniel, chapter 7 and verse 18. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever, by Shema Mashiach Yahushai.
Come on, by Shema Mashiach Yahushai. That's facts, y'all. What's up? We working on it though. All right, y'all. Hope y'all enjoyed the class. I knew it was probably being slow, acting crazy, but hope y'all enjoyed the class. We'll see y'all next week. We'll be on time and everything. We'll do that lesson on the virgin birth. That's gonna be coming next week. Was gonna be this week, but obviously we had Columbus Day, so I want to give y'all this history. So y'all go watch that movie in y'all free time. Get them books so that y'all can teach this stuff too, and put the information out there to the people, right? Y'all can stay tuned to the rest of the classes we got throughout the rest of the week. Like the video, you know what I'm saying? Share the video, share the rest of the classes, like our verses of the day, keep supporting the camp, the water the y'all for everything that y'all been doing. And we'll see y'all next week. Shalom.
Okay. Shalom.
This is not a test.
black skin, black thoughts, black Jesus, black music, black skin,